So this is how I think they should implement cars in The Sims 4. Obviously, we cannot get the cars to drive off. That is going to be impossible. But what we can do is we can have them magically appear on the road and then just magically drive off. If every single house in this street just had a driving off animation where the game suddenly disappeared, like that would be fine. We had the exact same in The Sims 2 and it was fine. Even if you had the ability to just put your car randomly in the middle, but when your Sims got in it, it would just magically appear on the road. I mean, that happened in The Sims 3. Guys, it's Satch and this is my Sims 4 wish list for 2022. There are so many different things you can do in a car other than actually drive. Like, you can get your Sims to woohoo in a car. You can get your Sims to build a car like they did in The Sims 2 free time. You could get your Sim to just sit in there and chill and listen to music. I'm sure the Sims team could come up with so many creative ideas for things to do in a car in The Sims 4 other than drive it around in an open world. Because of that, I honestly think there's no reason why they shouldn't put it in the game. I know, realistically, are we going to get it? Probably not. But it's just a thought. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. The Sims team announced that they'd be doing pack refreshes, but they only refreshed one pack, which was Spa Day. They haven't refreshed any other packs. Does that mean we're not going to get any more refreshes? One of the main reasons why I'm not buying any of the older stuff packs and game packs is because the content is so bad in them, especially ones like luxury party stuff. They literally have less content in them than so many of the other stuff packs. They may as well just be kits because there's literally nothing in them. Outdoor Retreats as well is such a fun game pack idea, but they didn't really go far enough with it, and I do think they could put more in that one too. And with Dine Out, and with basically all of the earlier packs. If I had it my way, I'd refresh Outdoor Retreat and put werewolves in it. So many people have been asking for werewolves for so long, yet we haven't got them. If they just put it in Outdoor Retreat, more people would buy that pack. It seems like a win-win situation because they could just create the werewolves, yet they wouldn't have to bother making a whole new pack around it. Therefore, they can waste less time and we get more out of it because some people already own Outdoor Retreat anyway. I also want to see the kitchen stuff pack being updated because all we got with that pack was some kitchen swatches and an ice cream machine. I want more than an ice cream machine. City Living is one of my favorite packs for The Sims 4. It is honestly such a fun pack. I love playing in it. I love playing in the world. I love doing everything it has to offer, but I think it needs to be normalized that we have more than one city pack in a Sims game. Like, we have so many basic, vanilla, American suburban worlds. We even have loads of British worlds in the game, yet we have no other city worlds other than City Living. City Living's great, but it has quite a fun, artsy, creative, happy vibe. I want to see something a little bit more dark and edgy. One of my favorite Sims spin-off games is The Herbs, and it basically just covers that kind of dark, edgy vibe. Like, do I want that in a Sims 4 pack? Yes, I do. I'd rather see it as an expansion pack, and I'd like to see them go all the way with it. There are so many ways that they can introduce a pack like this. The idea to have your own tattoo studio or hair salon or Botox clinic, and I think it would also be a really great way to introduce cops and robbers into The Sims 4 again, as well as other criminal behavior. Not only that, I'm sure they could come up with some kind of a cult, like a superhero mechanic inspired by Batman, Gotham City, Arkham City. I've never seen Batman in my life, you know what I mean. I would just like to see another spin on a city just because we haven't seen for... What was that noise? What was that? Europe is not a country! So many people outside of Europe seem to forget that Europe is not a country. It is a continent with many different countries and many different cultures, all of which look very, very different. Apart from UK, without getting too political, like, it doesn't really count, does it? Like, if we think about the rest of the countries in Europe, they have so many different cultures, yet they're all represented in only one pack, which is Get Together, which is actually a very German-inspired pack, but we haven't had any other kind of European cultures reference in any of the other packs. Do I want to see a French-style city? Yes. I want to be able to run and own my own bakery. I want to be able to go to the Le Louvre or whatever it's called, that museum. I want to have a nice, cute little town that looks like Amsterdam with a river in the middle and cafes outside. I would like to see a beautiful landscape in Eastern Europe, like Romania or something. I just want to see so many different places in Europe being recognized, especially on the east of Europe too. I'm praying they don't do that in a kit. If it was my wish list personally, I would not have any more kits. I would have them release something European as a game pack or a stuff pack. It doesn't have to be a European inspired pack. It just has to be in a European inspired world. On the subject of mixing up continents with countries, Africa. For some reason, game developers are scared of doing any kind of African country in any game, and I think that's because people on the internet are too sensitive. I think game developers in general are scared of representing Africa, not just game developers, but media in general, because Africa's associated with poverty. Not the whole of Africa multiplayer like that. There are literally so many countries. There are so many different cultures. There's so much there. The only time I think they've ever represented an African culture in The Sims is when they put Egypt in The Sims 3 World Adventures. Other than that, there's been no other representation, I think. I personally would like to see another Egyptian-inspired pack because I love Egypt. I find it really fascinating. Maybe it would also be a great way to introduce hotels back in The Sims. They could do a hotel safari thing, a new vacation world, introducing festivals. There's so much they can do if they actually research into the different cultures and what kind of countries that they would want to represent. Next up is creator sim relations. The creator sim in The Sims 4 has actually gone backwards so many steps since The Sims 3, even since The Sims 2. The problem with The Sims 4 creator sim is you can't create different relationships. If you're having two Sims the same age, you can either make them a sibling or a roommate or married. There is so much in between. You could be in a relationship with a Sim, yet not be married. Like, that is a real thing in the modern world, yet The Sims 4 doesn't let you do that. You're either friends or you're either married. There's no in between. It just seems very overly traditionalistic and it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see why we can't set relationships before we play the game and do it in CAS. Another thing that doesn't really make sense to me is that you can't start off with a pregnant Sim or a Sim with a baby. It is possible. You can download them from the Sims 4 gallery and put them into CAS mode before you start your game, a pregnant Sim, but you can't actually make them, and you also cannot make any babies. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't you make those things? Like, why are we just limiting ourselves to kids, toddlers, teens, young adults, and elders? Why can't we have any more? And why can't we have more different relationship selections? Why can't we decide what relationship level we have with those Sims? I want to start off a Sims game with a sibling rivalry and the siblings hate each other, or I want to make siblings that are best friends. Like, you have to actually go into the game. It just seems like such a pain that when you start the game, you have to just spam a load of interactions in order to get their relationships or how you want them to be before you start playing the game properly. And on the subject of CAS, we do need preteens. I've seen a preteen mod, so I know it can be put in the game. Maybe if they did introduce preteens, it would work really well if they came with a Generations pack as well. I'm just saying, we all want the Generations pack. Like, I'm not even going to bother talking about it on this wish list because we all want it and we all know what we want from it. But I do think preteens should come with that. There's no reason why a child should age up from 7 to 17 years old in a flash of a second. It doesn't make any sense. And on the subject of 17-year-olds, the 17-year-olds and the 27-year-olds and the 37-year-olds in The Sims look exactly the same. I would also like them just to see them update the meshes and the textures and the skin details for the teens, young adults and adults, because they all look the same. The fact that somebody who's like 16 years old and somebody who's 40 years old looks exactly the same is so worrying, and it doesn't make any sense. And one more thing, just one more thing about Creator Sim, and that is family trees. It is so difficult to make a working family tree in The Sims 4. It always gets buggy and glitchy the longer you go down in it. I would like to see them add more familial, I can't say that word, familial representation, familial relations, like nephews, nieces, uncles, cousins. They're not really recognized in The Sims 4 that well, and it is impossible to have that depth of relationships. Which brings me on to my next point, relationships. In recent years, they've tried to make relationships a bit better, but I think the reason why it's always failing is because they're not allowing Sims to interact together. In The Sims 4, Sims interact alone, but next to each other. In games like The Sims 2, The Sims 3, even The Sims 1, they actually interacted together, and it was more meaningful. In The Sims 4, there's just not that togetherness. I don't know if it's a problem with the AI. I don't know if it's because they can't be bothered to put the animations in. Whatever it is, I just don't understand why they haven't done it yet. If they can do it before, they can do it now. I just think it would add so much more meaning to the game. And the biggest thing I want from this game, literally the biggest thing, is bug fixes and fixing all the glitches and fixing lag and just improving the game in general, because it's so buggy and laggy. Even if you have a really high NPC like The Sims 4 does not run very well. Even if you don't have that many packs installed, it still doesn't work very well. If you're going to create a game which just keeps churning out all of these packs, you have to make the game be able to run all of the packs. That is a part of the deal. It is literally what you should expect. You should expect the game to work properly when you get it. Over the whole of 2021, so many people were begging EA to just stop making packs and just focus all their attention on bug fixes. And in 2021, it was one of the slowest years for pack releases ever for The Sims 4. We got so little packs, and at that point I thought, are they working on bug fixes? Are they giving us what we want? And they didn't. We barely got any bug fixes and barely got any updates. I don't know if it's because of recent times, if people are working at home and things are slower or what, but I just feel like they need to put a little bit more effort into fixing what the game currently is, especially packs like Dine Out, which are so broken. It's not fair just to release a pack and forget about it, because people are still buying these packs now. People are still playing them now, and they still want to enjoy them, but they can't because they're so broken. I can't remember a single occasion I've ever played The Sims 4 and it's just worked perfectly with no bugs or glitches. I understand it is a complicated game, therefore things can go wrong because there's so much going on in there at the same time. I just think they need to improve the coding. I'm not a coder, so that probably means absolutely nothing, but there's just something they can do. I know there is. Of course, I'm going to start discussion in the comment section, so make sure you write below what you want in the wish list, and I will try my best to read all of the comments. Otherwise, make sure that you read the next video here. Bye bye.